happened? So, on my way here, I spotted a cute guy, but then... Oh my god, how embarrassing. I know, I wish I could go back in time.
But girl, remember, you couldn't go back in time even if you wanted to.
But why? Thermodynamics, you know? The conversion of heat to motion?
Girl, that is so 19th century. Thermodynamics is the modeling of real-world phenomena.
What is thermodynamics? It is the science concerned with heat and temperature and their relation to energy and work. In the 19th century, it was simply defined as a conversion of heat to motion. During the Industrial Revolution, it was used to increase the efficiency of engines. For instance, the heat from combustion of coal converted to useful work. Nowadays, the aim of thermodynamics is to model the real-world phenomena using mathematical equations, such as to determine certain useful properties from measuring other properties in order to predict physical and chemical changes. The laws of thermodynamics. The zeroth law defines that when two bodies that have different temperatures come in contact with each other, they will approach the same temperature, and in the absence of loss to the surroundings, they will then maintain a constant temperature. They are then said to be in thermal equilibrium. The first law of thermodynamics introduces a new state variable, enthalpy, and states that heat is a form of energy and thermodynamic processes are subject to the principle of conservation of energy, meaning that heat energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred from one location to another and converted to and from other forms of energy. The first law says that the internal energy of a system has to be equal to the work that is being done on the system, plus or minus the heat that flows in or out of the system and any other work that is done on the system. The second law of thermodynamics introduces another state variable called entropy, and it stipulates that the total entropy of a system plus its environment cannot decrease. It can remain constant for a reversible process, but must always increase for an irreversible process. Thus, the universe tends toward a state of greater disorder in spontaneous reactions. Some of the real-world applications of thermodynamics are all types of vehicles that we use, such as cars, trucks, ships, airplanes, and many other, work on the basis of second law of thermodynamics. The concept of heat transfer is used in a wide range of devices, like heat exchangers, refrigeration systems, and on other types of cycles, which also work on the second law of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics also involves the study of various types of power plants, like thermal, nuclear, hydroelectric, and power plants based on renewable energy sources, like solar, wind, tides, among others. Steady state versus equilibrium. Steady state refers when the variables of a process, such as temperature, pressure, concentration, heat, and volume, do not change over time. This means that our process is constant but dynamic. On the other hand, equilibrium refers to a lack of change in the system, meaning that there is no net driving force. Thus, our process is static. Entropy is a measure of disorder in the system, or a measure of chaos. It indicates the direction of the process, in which the process occurs where there is more entropy. It is a driving force for chemical reactions to take place. The entropy of a substance always increases as it changes state from solid to liquid to gas. Solids are the most organized state, while gases are the most disorganized state. Reactions that increase the number of moles of particles from the reactants to the products often increase the entropy of the system. A process is reversible if it can spontaneously reverse its direction such that both the system and its surroundings can be wholly restored to their respective initial states without any effects in the surroundings. A process is irreversible when its time-reversed version cannot happen spontaneously. For example, a hot cup of tea left on its own to cool down will never get heated up all by itself. Similarly, an egg falling on the floor and cracking open will never reassemble itself. Some of the factors that make a process irreversible are friction, free expansion, heat transfer, mixture of substances, and chemical reactions. Entropy, represented with the letter S, is used to identify spontaneous changes in the process. The total change of the entropy in the universe must be greater than zero. The differential of entropy equals the differential of heat over temperature. If the change in entropy of the system is positive, then the process occurs spontaneously. On the contrary, if the change in entropy of the system is negative, then the process is non-spontaneous. At equilibrium, the total change of entropy must be equal to zero, meaning that the change of entropy in the system plus the change in entropy of the surroundings must be equal to zero. In the position of equilibrium, it must correspond to a state of maximum total entropy, since total entropy increases in any spontaneous process. Thermodynamic equilibrium. For a process to be at thermodynamic equilibrium, it must simultaneously undergo mechanical equilibrium, where change in pressure equals zero, thermal equilibrium, where the change in temperature equals zero, and chemical equilibrium, where Gibbs free energy equals zero. Thank you for watching. Until next episode!